Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to the first ever live stream on my little channel, what as previously known as Prog Chattery 777. So yeah, they just figured I'd record this as a sort of experiment, just to see if anyone may be into some sort of chatting about at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure some folks may have known or may have noticed on the more recent videos. I've got a different setup that I'm using. It's an old old photograph camera, and I'm just typically old school. I don't really have any fancy cameras or anything like that. So it's currently the best thing that I've got going for me right now. I know it's got the lower resolution and there's some audio issues with it, but it's allowing me to continue the videos, which is all well and good. As I'm currently on my laptop right now, if you could, as you could probably tell. And yeah, it looks like it's got a fairly grainy, nasty sort of image to it, although I'm not sure what the resolution is. I'm not very tech savvy when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I do have a ridiculous amount of tidbits of random information and track listings stuck in my head one way or another. Oh, let's see here. Do a little chat. Welcome to the first live stream. Just an experiment. Oh, yeah, got all these fancy details on here. Got it. Let's see my options here. We got 5 viewers tuned in right now. Let yourselves be heard. Ask a question, whatever you want. So I'm currently doing the Peter Hammill series right now. That's something to talk about in this immediate moment here at 8:11 p.m. in Ontario, Canada. Aha! There we go. Patrick McCormick says he's in love with being in the movie. That is a reference to, I'm going to talk about that album 2 videos from now, or 2 chapters from now in the Peter Hammill series. That's from Patient, of course. Yeah, Enter K in Patience. That's not from Patient, actually. Of course, that's Film Noir. Is the track where that's taken from. But yeah, that's a very, very good era. I'm looking forward to posting that video. Currently, with the Peter Hammill series, I've recorded up until the late 80s. So I'm going to continue trying to release them every Friday and Friday or Saturday. And yeah, I've got to get a few more recordings done. I got to listen to some music and do some chats here soon. So. Who Done It or Illegal Alien? This is from Ryan Barba. I would those 2 very, very silly Genesis songs. My goodness, I would probably have to go with Illegal Alien because at least there's a little more to it. Who Done It's a bit silly, but it is funny. Within the context of that album, thinking about it, I certainly enjoy it. Yes, Patience, of course. Patrick is correcting me there. The song is Patient. The album is Patience. Yeah, that video is going to be cool. I talked a bit about the margin as well, so that should be good to look forward to. That's a fantastic, fantastic live album. That's the only live album I'm going to talk about in the Peter Hammill series is The Margin and The Margin Plus, of course. K-Box is out. If any of you guys got the K-Box, Mr. Patrick, have you managed to pick that up? Let's see. Matthew Colville, regular viewer. What's the most recently released album that's knocked me out? God, that's a good question. What is the name of the album? I'll be right back. I'm gonna sneak on over. Actually, you can see bits of my basement here to my CD collection to answer Matthew's question. What is the name of the album? It's hard to pronounce. Pyrochoresis by Secret Chiefs 3. This is an offshoot of Mr. Bungle. Trey Spruance, the Mr. Bungle guitar player, has a band, or a series of bands that have the collective entity of Secret Chiefs 3. And that album came out, I think, 2015. So pretty old already, 4 years old at this point. But yeah, that's probably the most recent album that's blown my mind. Some really, really super complex rhythmic kind of stuff. Very wild stuff indeed. Yeah, so check them out. Secret Chiefs 3, highly recommended. I might do some Mr. Bungle videos, actually. I realize I haven't talked about Mr. Bungle. They're another one of my very favorite bands. I love the Bungle. So yeah, maybe I'll talk about those. I may not be talking about Dream Theater after I finish the Hammill videos. Incidentally, it was a long time ago when I recorded that video, and I'll need to listen to some of the Dream Theater stuff again. And I got that organic process of getting into a band, and obviously Dream Theater's got lots and lots of long material to sift through, but I might talk about Zeppelin. I might do some Zeppelin videos. Like I said, Mr. Bungle will be pretty easy, only 3 albums, so there's lots of stuff for me to yap about, the incoherent ramblings. Yeah, Ryan Barba, sorry. Yeah. The 2 Prog epics, of course. Yeah, Illegal Alien. Yeah, it's definitely there's a little more going. At least it's got a bridge section to it, right? Sitting Targets on the Margin. Yes, I agree, Patrick. That is absolutely, that's got to be the definitive version of Sitting Targets for me, the song. I love that version. Just great raw energy with John Ellis on the guitar. God, the K Group was a beast. It was such a great band. It's incredible how fleeting it was, too. I mean, it was a very, very short span of time it was around, but fantastic stuff. Frank Zappa's discography from Mr. Sheep 222. I'll probably at some point I'll at least talk, bits and pieces of Zappa's work. Obviously, there's a huge expanse of things to talk about when it comes to Frank Zappa. Very intimidating subject matter for sure. But I'll definitely do some chats about Zappa one way or another. I'm not as big a fan of the very early stuff. I prefer, Uncle Meat to me is probably the first kind of era that I really go for. And Hot Rats, Grand Wazoo, Waka Jawaka, the kind of jazz albums I'm a huge fan of. I love all of Zappa's stuff, really. I need to get myself a new copy of Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch, because that's got the title track, Drowning Witch, one of my favorite Zappa pieces. So yeah, there's lots to talk about with Zappa. My goodness. What else we got? Thoughts on CLD? You'll have to elaborate on that, Ryan. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. Sorry, but whatever CLD is, elaborate, and I'll be happy to respond. Ragnar, this is a good opportunity to use my English. Yes, for sure. That is fantastic, Ragnar. Very good opportunity to use your English. You're doing very well. I read that very easily. Excellent. Let's see. Oh, you're very welcome, Greg. Yeah, Peter Hamill's one of my favorite artists. I've absolutely, I needed to talk about Hamill's work in some way, shape, or form. Although it's very difficult to talk about Hamill's music because, like you say, Greg, it does touch something deep. There's something profound about Hamill's work. So it's not necessarily, as far as my videos go, it's just, me talking about albums and, I like this song, I like that song, I like this for that reason, whatever. But I mean, there's Hamill's work is something special. I can't think of a better example of words and music coming together in such a deep way. Hammill's music is intense. So yes, you're very welcome, Greg. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Wild how well Jazz from Hell has aged. Yeah, Jazz from Hell is definitely I'll be honest, it's one of my favorite albums. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's one of my favorite 80s albums of Zappa's. There's just some fantastic tracks on that one. I particularly it's got one of my I would actually call my all-time favorite Zappa guitar solo is actually Saint Etienne, which is from Jazz from Hell. Yeah, it's got G-Spot Tornadoes on there. Night School is a great piece on that one. The Beltway Bandits, and yeah, I suppose it has aged quite well, really. I mean, it's because the music transcends the technology that he was using, right? I mean, obviously Zappa was heavy into the synclavier in the mid '80s, there, early to mid '80s, and again, when you're talking about Zappa's composition, it doesn't matter what technology he's using; it's going to sound amazing because it's Zappa. I am a huge Zappa fan, obviously, as you can tell. Oh, Ramon. All right, forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Ramon Cardinale de Fernandez. Camel's discography. It absolutely does deserve a chattery. However, that's one of those bands I'm not really too familiar with, to be absolutely honest with you. It's a strange thing. I do have I'm not sure what albums of theirs I have. I got my record shelf over there, but I don't want to be digging through it. It'll take too much time. I think I've got the first 3 Camel albums, but I think I only played them a couple of times, and I must have been preoccupied with something else at the time. But for whatever reason, Camel never got into my head. But however, Ramon, that is a very good idea. I probably should give them an honest to goodness listen. It'd actually make for a good chattery to listen to it with fresh, innocent ears. So yeah, maybe in the future I will talk about Camel. That's a good idea. Thank you, sir. Claypool Lennon Delirium, of course. I got to be honest, that's another project that I am not too familiar with. Although they did play Toronto recently, quite close to where I'm at. And Geddy Lee from Russia actually was a guest performer at the show, which is quite cool. But I'm sure it's really cool. I think I've seen a couple of videos of Claypool Lennon Delirium, CLD, of course. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'm a big Claypool fan, obviously. Yes, Mr. Sheep 222, one size fits all, definitely a contender for his top period, the mid 70s. You can't go wrong with that in Zappa. And yeah, one size fits all is just one of those perfect records. That whole it's just perfectly constructed. I mean, even the arguable filler track, Can't Afford No Shoes. I mean, the way it comes in after Inca Roads and links things through into Sofa. Every song is a classic on that. I love Evelyn, a Modified Dog as well. That's great. Yeah. And of course, you can't go wrong with the Roxy album as well. That should be mentioned if we're talking about Zappa. And in New York, actually, the entire Leather set. To be honest, Leather is amazing. If you had to ask me if anyone asks for my very favorite Zappa composition, it's probably Gregory Peccary. I mean, you can't go wrong. That piece is just absolutely insane, through the wall. Alexandre Lamarche. Hey, man. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Glad to have you in the conversation. I look like Ian Anderson in live singing. My Sunday feeling is coming on over me. Well, that's a great compliment. My beard must be showing well on the camera because I don't really have much of a beard. My facial hair did not come in quite so thick. But I still don't shave because I'm lazy. That's an honest truth. But yeah, My Sunday Feeling, it's a great song. Yes, Greg Van Blair. I see. So Camel is a band that I can discuss. It'll be interesting because it'll be for the first time of me like really listening to it. However, I did discover Magma about a year ago, and I went very, very heavy into Magma. I haven't collected all of it yet. It is just fantastic music, though. It is. I mean, it's upper echelon stuff. Magma is definitely special, and I'm definitely going to talk about Magma, but I'll probably just focus on the two main trilogies. So Thea's Hamtak I'll talk about, and Kontarkos I'll talk about that one as well. So yeah, Magma's definitely going to be on the list for sure. But probably won't tackle the whole discography. Like I said, I don't have that, but I do have the trilogies, and there's a couple other albums I have. Live/High is that's a fantastic piece. Of course, that live album is basically Kontarkos plus bits of the other two movements, Kontarkos, Anteria, and what's the last one called? Amentat Ray, the one with the cool Egyptian cover. Yeah, so yeah, Greg, you can expect some Magma some point down the line. All these videos are going to take a long time. I must be honest with you. I want to get through the Hammill discography. I'm about halfway recording those videos now. Going to release them on a weekly basis. Hopefully, if I can get ahead of the game, I can get to a lot of these other artists. I might talk about Led Zeppelin because I think it'd be just good for the channel to kind of get a more people involved sort of a thing. Although this experiment is going very, very well. I'm looking at all these viewers here and all these questions. It's fantastic. I really enjoy this. But yeah, I've lost my train of thought. I'm going to just get to another question here. Oh, snap. Brian Stepp. Sup, Prog Chattery. Hello. Loved your Genesis reviews. Thank you very much. One of my favorite bands. Can't go wrong with Genesis. Recently saw the Musical Box. They did the Genesis Extravaganza show, and we covered a whole bunch of the early Phil Collins era. So we got some stuff from Wind and Wuthering. There's a live version of Blood on the Rooftops, which is really, really good. Steve Hackett's doing that as well. He's been doing that for a while, but Musical Box did an excellent job. Very good band. Pedro CYR says, do you know about the Canadian band Harmonium from the 70s? Yes, I do. They were a progressive folk rock band from Quebec, and their second album, one of the most beautiful things I've heard. Yes, I do have their 3 albums. Again, not super familiar with them. I couldn't tell you the name. One of them's called Leptad, I think, something. That's the big one. That's the big double album. But yeah, no, I'd like to talk about some Harmonium at some point too. They're a really, really good band. Very pastoral. It's I suppose it's like Yes, but more acoustic. But it is, I suppose if the term symphonic rock were to be taken seriously, I think it would really apply to Harmonium. That's a excellent point, Pedro. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I might do some Harmonium videos. That might be another good one for me to listen to, because I got into them a couple of years ago, and it's been a long time since I've listened to it. It's not coming to my ears just thinking about it. So it might be interesting to throw some of those on and then do some immediate chats afterwards. That's cool. Alexandra Lamarche. Sorry, I may have mispronounced your name. Apologies. Yeah, Frank Zappa discography. Not a whole discography. I'll do chunks. I'll do like an eras thing. But you know how my videos end up. They all end up being like over 40 minutes long, and I've got my batteries dying on me when I'm doing my videos and all this stuff. So I tend to ramble long either way. So I think if I do the Zappa discography, this is going to be a long run. Greg Van Blair. Also, a big thank you for covering Gentle Giant. You're very, very welcome, sir. First band I ever fell in love with. Once told Hammill Giant was my favorite, but him my favorite artist. Well, that's a cool story. Yeah, I've been meaning to listen to Gentle Giant again. It's been a long time since I've had a nice little Giant phase. Yeah, I love Gentle Giant. They're, of course, another one of my favorite bands. Very, very heavy into them, and it would have been later half of high school. I discovered Gentle Giant, and it was just the coolest music. Yeah, Harmonium is the best peace meeb. Peaceful place to be, or it's internet jargon that befuddles my brain. Oh, Ramon again. What's your opinion on Devin Townsend, man? To be totally honest, I know him only in name, not by music. Yeah, I can't say I may have thrown one on at some point or another, but haven't had a chance to give it a proper listening. So I cannot give a proper opinion on Mr. Devin Townsend. Sorry. But thanks for your views. I'm glad you enjoy the ramblings. That is great to hear. Do I have a short list of artists that I've always been interested in but never took a deep dive into? Matthew Colville. Well, there's a few that have come up already. So, Harmonium, the Quebecois band. Camel definitely would be one. PFM used to be one, but then I got really into them and made videos, which was really, really cool. I'm glad those turned out. I'm trying to think of anything offhand right now. Artists that I've been interested in but not hooked into. God, there's got to be more. Renaissance, that's one. I know they've got some key people in the band, but I'm not too familiar with Renaissance. I should definitely check them out. Audience, I'm familiar with one album, House on the Hill, but other than that, another band that I've heard a fair bit about. Family is a band that I should probably check out. I have the album Entertainment, and I immediately saw where Peter Gabriel got his thing from. That was my takeaway there. What was that other guy in England in the late '60s? It was crazy, and he did the pyro stuff from his hair. He put the helmet on, and he was on fire. What was that guy's name? It's another artist that I probably should get into. Henry Cow / Art Bears. Actually, yeah, there's one right there. Henry Cow is another artist that I really, really like, but see, and again, I could listen to all this stuff on YouTube, but it's not the same all-encompassing, listening experience that I enjoy. I'm currently sitting in my listening chair. I've got my 2 speakers. I've got my record player, my CD player. All my stuff is exactly where I need it. I can't really get the full experience if I'm just listening to a YouTube video or if I'm streaming it or whatever. So I like to collect the albums, and as far as Henry Cow goes, I only have just the one album, which is, let's take a look, shall we? We'll go and check out my vinyl rack. It's very dark. It's poorly lit, but the one Henry Cow album that I do have, In Praise of Learning. I know that's not one of the heralded ones, but yeah, I do have it, and I really like this album. It is absolutely bizarre, and that's the kind of stuff that I like. So yeah. Hey, there's Henry Cow. I couldn't tell you much about it offhand because, again, it's probably been a few years since I've thrown this one on. But yeah, I really like Henry Cow, and I like the whole thing of what they do. A big fan of Fred Frith as well. Obviously, his whole whole thing of how he makes things musical. Yeah, just the raw side. I love that whole avant-garde stuff. It's great. So yeah, as I find more Henry Cow, I will talk about it. I should talk about In Praise of Learning, but very, very difficult to find around these parts. Although I can just easily order stuff on Amazon or whatever, but it's not on the priority. My biggest problem right now. Oh, sorry, interruption. Patrick McCormick, Arthur Brown, and Mr. Sheep 222. Yes, Arthur Brown. He is the other guy that I need to check out with the pyro on the head. What was I just saying there? Oh yeah, no. My biggest problem right now in terms of buying albums is the fact that there's all this King Crimson stuff that's coming out. I see. The thing is, I don't always get the big box sets, but I know I'm going to need to get my hands on the next Collectors Club reissue live in Newcastle, 72, December 8th, 72. That's a very, very exciting thing. I haven't really talked too much about King Crimson on the channel, but they're another one of my very, very top bands, as you may imagine. Ragnar, I'm also a lazy guy. I don't shave my beard. Being a half-blood, so my facial hair is way less. Oh, very cool, very cool. Am I Canadian? Yes, I am in fact Canadian. Yeah, Ontarian, as to be specific. And as we tend to measure distance with time in Canada, I'm not sure if that's a unique thing to Canada or not, but I'm probably about an hour and a half from Toronto. So that's kind of where you can get that. There's a lot of Canadian reviewers on here, actually. There's Canadian Stud Muffin, quite entertaining. Notes reviews. I'm a big fan of Notes. He's got some really good reviews. He's from Barrie, Ontario, which is that's probably about 2 or 3 hours from where I live. It's different side of the big city. Have I listened to Griffin? No, I have not listened to Griffin. However, I have heard a lot about Griffin, and I'll probably stick that on the list of things that I should probably check out. I'll be right back. I'm gonna put my Henry Cavill away. Chaos of this video. You would have got a good view of my electronic drum set and the brick wall in behind, which houses a wood stove that we're not allowed to use, which is fine. It's a nice conversation piece. Led Zeppelin is a good choice, Ragnar. Yes, that's what Ragnar says. I was listening to In the Light, and it makes me fly to another planet. Absolutely, I agree. It's funny, I had a big listening session over the last week, and I got through the Zeppelin catalog. And In the Light, one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. That's sort of the proggy ones, right? Because it's got the multiple sections and all that. It's very, very cool. I like In the Light. Physical Graffiti is a fantastic album. Pedro, how do I feel about Islands? It's the most underrated King Crimson album, in my opinion. Yeah, you're probably right. It's definitely, you don't hear, wasn't until the current King Crimson lineup started playing Islands, the material from Islands, that people started reassessing it. But I think it's a great album. I will be honest, between those two, I'm more of a Lizard person. So I mean, obviously, In the Court of the Crimson King is it's a magnificent piece of work. In the Wake of Poseidon, arguably controversial because it's similar to the first, although I don't really buy that because the second side is still quite different. You get Mars / the Devil's Triangle. But then between Lizard and Islands, I think a lot of fans are quite divided between those two. There's the Islands camp and there's the Lizard camp. I think I belong in the Lizard camp. But like I said, I like Islands. I think Formentera Lady is a fantastic piece. I'd love to see the current band do that one. That would be really neat. They may have tried that one. I'm not sure, actually. The Sailor's Tale, obviously, that goes without saying. Great piece. The Letters, it's been a live staple of the current band, which is great. There's one song I'm not a huge fan of, Song of the Gulls, if I'm honest. But Ladies of the Road is really good. The title track is good. Might be a bit long, the title track, The Islands, but it's King Crimson. It's all great. I'm a huge fan. I love King Crimson. Have I heard the recent David Cross, David Jackson release? Heard about it. I haven't heard it, unfortunately. I'm taking notes of those names. I want to discover new good music. This is the place to do that. Thank you, Ragnar. Cringeworthy. What are my top favorite? My top 5 favorite albums? Well, that's an impossible question. That's what that is. Well, the albums that come to mind in terms of me having an immediate impact on me when I heard them, and that I can go back in my life and remember being very, very into the album. So that's got to be Selling England by the Pound, Thick as a Brick. What Crimson album? Probably Lark's Tongues and Aspic. That would be the definitive Crimson album. I wouldn't call it definitive Crimson album, but it's probably my favorite overall. Discipline's really close. I mean, if it's going to be top 5, I mean, can I put 2 Crimson albums in my top 5? Oh. It's either Discipline or Lark's Tongues. Probably God Bluff by Vandergraaf Generator. That's a profound one. Although actually, even though overall I think I like God Bluff more than Pawn Hearts, Pawn Hearts probably blew me away a lot more when I was young. So again, for the Van der Graaf album, it's a toss up between those two. And then what's number 5? What would number 5 be? Gosh. I'm gonna go with Hot Rats by Frank Zappa. So let's try and recap. So that's Selling England by the Pound, Genesis, Thick as a Brick, Jethro Tull, Lark's Tongues and Aspics / possibly Discipline by King Crimson, God Bluff / possibly Pawn Hearts by Van der Graaf Generator, and Hot Rats by Zappa. That's probably, we'll call that my top 5. I realize this video is probably so rambling. That's I suppose that's the trademark, the incoherent ramblings. But I'm becoming very conscious of little offshoots of conversation that start and don't go anywhere. But I think that's just how I talk. You're all here watching, so I hope I'm doing something right. Thank you. Let's see. Am I familiar with Anthony Phillips' solo work? I do have his first album, The Geese and the Ghost, is it? I have that, listened to it once, and must not have been in the mood for it because I haven't gone back. I did very pastoral and very, very chill. I know he's had a career, so I'm sure there's been lots of ebbs and flows along his journey, but no, I'm not super familiar with Anthony Phillips' solo work, although obviously, a lot of respect for his position and the role that he played in Genesis and the whole story, obviously. But yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Patrick McCormick, Sailor's Tale. Yes, that's gotta be my favorite song on Islands. It's got to be, especially with the Fripp solo in the middle, which is, can't get enough of those jangly Fripp solos. They're fantastic. Red Queen of the Griffin 3 is a good start for Griffin. That's another one that I've heard of. That's another one I definitely take note of. Absolutely. Oh, cringeworthy says Magma. Yes, definitely. Magma. I'm gonna set probably at some point, hopefully this year, I'll talk about the two main trilogies, Theas Hamtak and Gontarkos. So that'll be 6 albums, but probably in 2 videos if I'm lucky, and I don't ramble too much. Boredoms I have not heard of, so yeah, I can't comment on that. Ryan Smith says, "Howdy, Brad. Howdy, Ryan. Good to see you." Ragnar says, "Top 5 best frontmen." Oh, that's a good question. Again, got to go back to Jethro Tull. Got to give Ian Anderson credit. There's a man who knows how to control, how to run a crowd for sure. Freddie Mercury's got to be up there for one of the top frontmen. Not a huge Queen fan, not to the same extent of some of the other bands that I've talked about, but obviously I like the songs that I know on the radio. They're all very good, and of course Freddie Mercury is a ridiculously good singer, so with a voice like that you can't go wrong. Whoa. Almost out of batteries here. Let's charge up, everybody. Don't get dizzy now. You can see all the details of the basement, the gory details of the facial hair. Oh. There we go. We're plugged in. We're not going to disconnect. So yeah, where was I there? 5 best frontmen. So Ian Anderson, Freddie Mercury. I'll probably put Robert Plant in there because pretty defined character of the stage. Peter Gabriel for sure with the theatrics. And where's number 5? Where should I put number 5? Obviously, this is totally off the cuff, and ultimately doesn't mean too much that I'm saying this in this moment right now. Well, let's just throw a random one out there. Let's go with Ronnie James Dio, because Dio, can't go wrong with Dio, man. And it's the only appropriate time where you can use the Maloisk that they call it, the rock on sign, as the non-Dio fans call it. Cringeworthy, have I heard about Motor Psycho? No, I have not. That's another one that I've not heard of. Michael Bowden says, what do you think about the new prog stuff like Steven Wilson, Riverside? Steven Wilson, fantastic. I'm a big fan of Steven Wilson for sure. I had a big Porcupine Tree phase when I was in high school. Don't listen to it so much these days. I've tried. It's great to hear Gavin Harrison's drumming, obviously, because Gavin Harrison is a beast. But no, I really like Steven Wilson. I was thinking about doing a chat about The Raven That Refused to Sing, because that's a very, very good album. Another album to recently have blown, one that recently blew my mind. And Hand Cannot Erase is very, very good as well. That's a very, very good album. Riverside, no, I have not heard of that. Sorry. Mr. Sheep 222. Listen to Wobbler. Most recent album was pretty great. Afraid Not. That one's not on my radar. Cringeworthy. Do I have a favorite Tool record? I'd probably have to go with Lateralis. 10,000 Days comes really, really close, but I think, they accomplished something very, very profound and special with Lateralis, and I think it's one of those cases where the expectation was just a little bit too much when 10,000 Days came out, and obviously I remember when 10,000 Days came out. I was in high school, and it was like the all-encompassing biggest news ever of the century, craziness. But I think it was a little bit overhyped, and it's not quite as good. I mean, 10,000 Days is certainly a very close second great Tool album. It is a fantastic record, but Lateralis for me, just for the title track alone, it's one of the great pieces of music in the early 20th century, or early 21st century, I should say. That was a 100-year difference, 100-year mistake. So yeah, that's the answer for the Tool record. Ryan Smith, got to see Crimson last year. It was absolutely amazing. That it is. If you haven't seen King Crimson live and you're a fan of all this kind of music, you've got to check it out. It's King Crimson is a special band, especially with what it's doing right now. When you have 3 drummers out at the front row. I mean, they're essentially the frontmen. My question earlier in this video about what's your favorite frontman, three of them should have been Pat Mastelotto, Jeremy Stacy, and Pat Mastelotto, and Gavin Harrison. Because you can't go wrong with King Crimson. It's a fantastic show. I'm very excited. I'll be seeing them in September. They're coming to Toronto one more time, so that'll be my third, and it might be my last show. So far, the first show I thought would be my first and last. My second show I thought would be my last, and well, here they are coming around again. So, I'll be very, very fortunate to be seeing them for the third time. So that's going to be really cool in September. Looking forward to that. Hey, 2003 C Payne, how's it going? Really been enjoying the Hammill reviews. They're very good. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad you're getting through the reduced audio quality. I made note of that at the very beginning of this little live stream that I know my audio and visual quality has gone down a little bit since I've moved, but and I'm sure there's many very easy ways that I could just use something else that'll be a high grade, but I'm set in my ways for the time being. I hope you can forgive me, but I'm glad you're enjoying the Hammill reviews. Another big fan of the Wenton King. Yes, can't go wrong with the Wenton King. There's some great reviewers, Sam and Kev. Funny guys. Mom says, have I heard of John Anderson's Survival and Other Stories? Can't say that I have. Truth be told, I'm not a huge Anderson fan. I enjoy his voice, but my experience with John Anderson is largely as just he's the Yes singer. You know what I mean? So I'm not too familiar with his solo work, unfortunately. Although I'm sure there's some great stuff there. No doubt of that. Cringeworthy, favorite Pink Floyd records. He thinks Animals takes the cake. I would probably have to agree with you. I'm a huge fan of Animals. I love it. Because it's the different album, right? It's the weird, difficult one. I think Animals is probably Pink Floyd at their most rocking too. You get a song like Sheep. It's got really, really solid groove to it. And I like the bookends as well. I really like the title track, Pigs on the Wing, or not really a title track, but opening and closing track is really, really nice. And Dogs is classic. Yeah, Animals is brilliant. But that whole run is really good. Dark Side of the Moon, you can't deny. Wish You Were Here, you can't deny. The Wall is obviously a seminal moment of stuff. But yeah, I'm with you. Cringeworthy said that. Yeah, I'm with you, Cringeworthy. Animals is where it's at. Have I heard of any Brazilian prog bands like Bacamarte or Torino Baldio? Very good 70s prog. Can't say I'm too familiar, unfortunately, but I would really like to check it out, to be honest. I guess recently I got into the whole Italian prog thing, so I'm getting into all the different takes on it from around the world. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to check out some of those bands. I hope, obviously not pronouncing that very well, I apologize. Bacamarte and Terreno Baldio. Yeah, I'll work on my pronunciation, but I'll definitely check some of that stuff out. I'd like to get a taste of that. I'm a huge fan of Latin American music. It's rhythmically, it's like the ultimate challenge as a drummer is, or at least of a Western drummer, to master those kind of rhythms, your claves and whatnot. C-Pain says favorite song on Stormwatch at the moment. Dung Ringle for me right now. Yeah, it's Dun Ringle for me all the time on Stormwatch. That to me is that's the moment of that album. It's one of my favorite songs. One of my all-time favorite Ian Anderson songs. One of my favorite songs in general. Dun Ringle's a great piece. David Brands or Brandy's, not really too sure how to pronounce your name. I apologize. Hey Brad, love your Yes Genesis and Jethro Tull reviews. Am I going to do King Crimson reviews soon? Possibly. That's possibly. I am a huge King Crimson fan, as you can imagine. I'm sure I've worn a few of my Crimson shirts on the videos. But similarly to Hammill, which I'm currently doing right now, the Crimson thing is it's difficult to review. It's not an easy thing to do justice to, and don't necessarily want to be rambling away like an idiot with something that's so profound. And this is one of the big difficulties I had doing the Hammill reviews. But seeing as how I'm doing them now, I might as well get some Crimson reviews going on. I might just do like little videos and just talk about my very limited understanding of the various live incarnations of King Crimson. To have a video talk about the '69 band and interim period, perhaps, and then the mid-'70s improvisational, crazy, awesome, amazing period that is Lark's Tongues, Starless and Bible Black, and Red. One of the greatest moments of music ever. And then the '80s period, '90s projects, all that kind of stuff. I might do something like that, but I don't know if I'll do like individual albums. Probably not. But I will have to talk about Crim soon. C-Pain, the 240p is a bit rough, but it's not that bad. Thank you. I'm glad you're tolerating it for now. So I'm glad you also tolerate the ads on here, because that helps me pay for a new camera. Gotta manage my resources. Ryan Smith, yeah, Sam and Kev, top chaps. They absolutely are. Yeah, Animals, Metal, and Final Cut's one that I find it's difficult to get into. That one, it's I never had a real moment with the Final Cut, to be honest. But Metal, yeah, again, can't go wrong. One of the great moments of Floyd. PFM, Ulysses. I'm not familiar with the more recent PFM. I know the kind of the early the 70s run. But the later stuff I'm not as familiar with, so I'll have to check that out. Thank you, Patrick. C-Pain venturing into Under Wraps lately. Yes, Later That Same Evening is a fantastic track. That's one of the proggier ones, and that it's got a weird structure to it. It's not just a kind of verse chorus sort of a thing. It takes out a little journey. It's only like a 3-minute song, but yeah, it's a great track. I love Under Wraps. I don't care what anyone says. The most steadfast Tull fan, and they'll talk about how the '80s was this horrible period for Jethro Tull. I'm not having it. It's just, it's the technology of the time. Under Wraps is a great album. I think I even said in the review, it's just so different from Tull. It's almost hard to compare it. So it's like, I listened to Under Wraps and I'm like, well, this could be one of the best Tull albums, but you almost can't say that. It's like sacrilegious. People will be very angry if you say that Under Wraps is the best Tull album. So it's not the best Tull album, but it's just a really good album. There's some great songs on it. Saboteur, you can't go wrong with that one. That's fantastic. Fantastic one. Minstrel in the Gallery, favorite Tull hands down. Yeah, just speaking of Tull, Minstrel. See, that's a contender where you can actually say yes, that is arguably the best Tull album in that it's got great songs, great arrangements, great performances, and it's all distinctly that Jethro Tull sound. So, yeah, I would agree, Ryan. Minstrel in the Gallery is probably your top, probably the top thing for Tull. Brian Stepp, Zappa reviews sound cool. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Rush reviews. Yeah, check out Hammill. Yeah, that's Hammill's. It's an intense journey, that's for sure. Best of luck to you. Take your time with Peter Hammill. It may not come to you right off the bat, but it's special music. It is special music. Tull is great. Yes, it is. I love Jethro Tull. It's fantastic stuff. Oh, Banco. Have I checked out Banco? No, I have not. I've not checked out Banco, but that's one of the artists that I should put on my list, my growing list of artists that I should listen to, because I've heard lots of Banco, another one of the great Italian prog rock people. Yeah, so I really must check that. I must check him out. C-Pain, I could listen to Sam and Kev talk for hours about anything. Yeah, oh yeah, I've spent a lot of time watching their hilarious channel. They're just great reviewers. What can I say? I'm a fan. I'm a fan of theirs, and they got their Patreon going on. They're doing the Genesis reviews. And it's funny. I always felt a little bad because when I started my channel, it was right around the time that Sam and Kev did their Pink Floyd reviews, and I thought, because it was a special thing that they were doing every album in the catalog, and my whole intention when I started my channel was I'm going to do like full series and try and do a story of each of these artists. But that's one reason why I never did Pink Floyd, because I knew that they had just done it. So perhaps I'm being too polite with my competition, but I like their channel, so I try not to be rude. David just picked up Close to the Edge and Things a Brick the other day. New favorite album from each band? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They're both fantastic albums. Yeah, Close to the Edge. See, Close to the Edge is a contender for my favorite. Probably is my favorite Yes album, but I really do enjoy Relayer. I think there's just some cool playing on Relayer. It's the Patrick Moraz thing, right? But that might be controversial to say because it doesn't have Rick Wakeman on it. But yeah, for Yes, it's either Close to the Edge or Relayer. And Thick as a Brick, that's an album that holds a very dear place in my heart. That's for sure. I love Thick as a Brick. But as discussed earlier, just a few minutes ago, I think if you're looking for the definitive Tull record, like you could argue is the best, quote unquote, best Tull record, I think Minstrel has definitely got to be there. Band mush-ups. Not sure what that one means. Sorry, sir. Brian Stepp, Roots to Branches. Fantastic album. That's the definitive later Tull period, I think. And Roots to Branches, it's I would put that in my I put Roots and Branches in my top 5 Tull records for sure. Definitely. Thoughts on Bursting Out? Yeah, it definitely has. It certainly. I would agree with you. The Bursting Out does have a muddy sound to it, but a lot of Tull does. Unfortunately, there's until the Steven Wilson remasters started coming out, it was kind of hard to get a fairly decent sound of Tull, unless you had like a really early pressing on vinyl, or that's really it. I'd heard a few really good pressings, but the Steven Wilson remasters sound really, really good. Actually, Songs from the Wood is a good sounding album generally. Most copies I've heard sound pretty nice. But as for Bursting Out, I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of those definitive moments of that period of Tull, I would say. And it's like some could say that is the Tull. That's like the Tull that did all the biggest performances in the 70s. I love Bursting Out. It's just a fantastic moments of or fantastic takes of all the songs on it, for sure. Great locomotive breath. You can just you feel the energy of the concert. I will be honest though, I've kind of got an issue with live albums on vinyl. I am a vinyl junkie, as you can imagine. A lot of my reviews I'm holding the vinyl up. But when it comes to live albums, I like the full concert. I like to get the concert as close to the running order as possible, with if possible to get it onto one disc. I don't like going back and forth, and especially with an album like Bursting Out, for example. There's some great takes of songs on there. However, it's you don't get the running order. You get the vibe of the show within the songs. But I'm funny that way when it comes to my live albums, I guess. That's why I like the King Crimson Collectors Club so much, is because they present you, as close to the run as close to how the concert played out as possible. And usually they're only spread across no more than 2 discs, which I can tolerate one change around. The one thing was with Kate Bush and Before the Dawn, when that came out, it was out on vinyl, and I saw it in the store there, and I thought, wow, that's beautiful. Look at this massive box set. But then it's like you get 2 songs and then flip, and then 2 songs and then flip, and then 2 songs and then flip. And especially with the presentation like Before the Dawn that Kate Bush did, I think I may have just said Before the Dawn by Kate Bush. If you're going to listen to that presentation, you don't want to be flipping the record over every couple of seconds, right? So, yeah, that's my take on live albums. Michael, if you if I could only choose one Van de Graaff Generator song, what would it be? Oh goodness, that's a good question, isn't it? Childlike Faith and Childhood's End. That would be my one Van de Graaff Generator song. I think that is a very special piece. Came close to saying Scorched Earth, but I think I would go on to pick Childlike Faith, because it's more universal. It's one of those deeply profound pieces. Final community vids on your channel, Ryan Smith. I'll check them out some point or another. I get a chance here on the old interwebs. Thoughts on Chic Your Booty? Oh, it's a fantastic album. It's lots of fun. It's a fantastic album for being fun, I should say. It's not necessarily, you're not going to get a Black Page or a Drowning Witch on it, or a Gregory Peccary, but I think there's some absolutely hilarious songs on there, and there's enough bits of cool playing on it to make it really worthwhile. But overall, it's a great slice of entertainment. Chic Your Booty is fun. I like it. Oh, and Regner says in 2017, scrolling on, 2017 went to see Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull. That's fantastic. I saw Ian Anderson perform Thick as a Brick 1 and 2. I saw him on that tour, and that was lots of fun. Oh, Steve Payne. The Wenton guys are most entertaining when they disagree. I would agree to that. It's fun watching poor Sam deal with the 80s Genesis. Oh, poor Sam. He wasn't a big fan of Kate Bush either, which, hey, it's fair. We have all got our taste. All have our taste. Patrick McCormick, Brought to Book really freaks me out. Brought to Book was that's my favorite piece on Van de Graaff's most recent album on Do Not Disturb. Brought to Book, I think, is the centerpiece. That's the kind of the core of the statement of the album is on that track. And yeah, it is. It's one of the freaky ones for sure. I like the changes in it too. Very very reminiscent to the early Van der Graaf, which I thought was great. Oh, C-Pain, wish Rooster Branches was a little shorter. I agree with you for sure. It's that '90s thing where albums go on way too long. I actually don't mind Another Harry's Bar. I like Another Harry's Bar. It's a good song, but I wouldn't get. I would if I had to choose between those two, Wounded Old and Treacherous, and Harry's Bar, I would keep Wounded Old and Treacherous. I'm a big fan of that song. I like that one. That one's lots of fun. There's gotta be another one on Roots to Branches towards the end that I could spare. But I won't get up. Sorry. Am I a Bob Dylan fan? Well, not on a profound level. I don't think I have any Bob Dylan albums, so yeah, I'd probably just have to say no for that one. But yeah, if I hear it, I enjoy it. Obviously, very influential person. Definitely don't discount his influence, but can't say I'm a huge fan. I'm a big Neil Young fan. I like Neil Young. That hometown Canadian spirit, I suppose. Greg is back. In regards to live albums, his favorites are Camel, a live record, Gentle Giant, Playing the Fool, and Seconds Out. Yeah, Seconds Out's that's a really really good album. Playing the Fool is a fantastic Gentle Giants album as well. Obviously, as we hear all the alternate arrangements, we also get the live version of the Octopus Suite, which is one of the great moments of Gentle Giant, in my opinion. And can't comment on a live record by Camel. Is it? Afraid I don't know. You got to include Made in Japan as well with Deep Purple. I mean, the version of Space Truck, and it's all crazy jamming and all that, but you got to give it up for Deep Purple, hey? I'm wearing Deep Purple shirt right now. Got to give it to him. Give it to the band. Ragnar, would I combine one band with another? Kiss with Backstreet Boys, for example. Probably not, because I like to know. I like my bands to be distinct. to be honest. Mr. Sheep 222, jtull.com, Tull's best '90s album. Good argument for that. It's a very close one for me between Roots to Branches and .com. I think they're both fantastic. I think they're both really really good records. Basically, whatever the best one is whatever one I listen to last, probably. David, did I get anything for Record Store Day this year? I don't think I did. I picked something up not too long ago, but it wasn't. I don't think it was actually. I was in the record store, but I wasn't for Record Store Day. I finally picked up DVD of Celebration Day, the Led Zeppelin concert. So I'll be able to. That should be in the mail here soon. So that's a recent thing I got. So the most recent vinyl I got, surprisingly enough, was Thomas Dolby, the EP for Blinded Me with Science, because I got to get my little 80s fix. I like my 80s. I like my new wave, my post-punk, whatever the heck they call it. Yeah, Thomas Dolby was my most recent vinyl purchase. That was another question that was asked earlier. An album that blew my mind recently. It's an old album. It's an '80s album, but Laurie Anderson, "Mr. Heartbreak," is a really cool album. Bizarre, very very dated with all the '80s-ness, but it's a great. I like Laurie Anderson. She's got some interesting stuff. Percy prefer Banco over PFM all the way. Also recommend the band Calavicia Laconda, especially their second album if you find the time. Yeah, I got to check out all these Italian prog outfits for sure. Banco is probably the next one that I'll look up as far as the Italian stuff goes. So hopefully I'll keep things active up here on the channel, and I'll get back to you on that when I investigate the Banco. Yeah, jtull.com is a terrible title. I agree. Trying to be relevant, and that's genius way to immediately date yourself, unfortunately. But it doesn't matter. It's a great album. I like it. .com's brilliant. Oh, Greg, you missed my Vandergraaf comment, but you think I referenced Still Life? Great album, probably my favorite, which combines music, lyrics, and overall intense dynamics. Absolutely, it does. Still Life is it's one of the great albums, I think, in my opinion. No, my absolute top, my comment there was if I had to pick one Vandergraaf Generator song, it would be Childlike Faith and Childhood's End from Still Life, of course. Because that song is just profound. Oh, Roots to Branches is exactly 1 hour long. How about that? Favorite Neil Young album? Live at Massey Hall. So there's an exception. I actually quite enjoy the live album of Neil Young. That's just because I like that album because you get the real raw versions of the classics like Old Man and There's a World is really, really good. I like that one. Live at Massey Hall is a nice one. There's also that what was that? Greendale was the big kind of concept album that he put together. I thought that was really cool. On the Beach. That's hey, you know what? You can't knock Neil Young for that. I like to not that you're knocking Neil Young, but hey, he's a diverse artist. You can't go wrong. Firefox, hey Brad, just joined the stream. I wanted to say I love your reviews and keep up the good work. Thank you, Firefox. Much appreciated. That's very, very cool. Deep Purple means Purpo Profundo. If that means profound, yes, Deep Purple is profound. We're kind of probably stretching a little of the abuse of my own use of the English language in this moment. I don't know if Purple is profound, but they're a very good band. Yeah, Sea-Pain, Deep Purple isn't. They are an addicting band. Yeah, I've got all the Purple albums. Not all the live stuff that's been released, but I've got a few ones. There's really good one. The last live Deep Purple album I got was the Mark III lineup. I believe it was I forget what city it was. Is it Stockholm? It was Richie Blackmore's last gig in the '70s with the Mark III lineup, and there's some killer versions of some of the classic tracks on there. A live version of Stormbringer, great version of Lady Double Dealer. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Deep Purple. I like. I'm a fan of both the Blackmore era and the Morris era. I think their most recent album, Infinite, was really, really good. What Now is also really, really good. Yeah, Deep Purple. They're great. Big fan. When I was young, I really liked Abandon. I liked that album. That was lots of fun. I love that. Was one of my when I first started drumming. That was one of my big things, was imitating Ian Pace's intro to "Any Fool Know That," which is kind of funny because you would immediately think of something like "Pictures of Home" from Machine Head or something like that. But no, it's that groove at "Any Fool Know That." And you get Ian Gillan doing his bizarro rapping styles on top. Good old Ian Gillan. Roger Waters' Amused to Death. Yes, that is a fantastic album. Amused to Death it's one of those scary albums. That's probably Roger Waters' best solo thing. I would say that pretty confidently. Yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to it, but they gave me nightmares as a younger man. Sweet Child in Time. Favorite live performance of God Bluff, Still Life, and H2HE. Interesting. So Mr. Ryan Smith doesn't put Pawn Hearts in there. Pawn Hearts is very, very heavy-handed, that's for sure. But yeah, for me, it's probably Pawn Hearts and God Bluff. H2HE is fantastic, though. I think one thing with H2HE, and there's probably another huge controversy amongst the Vandergraaf and Hammill fans out there, is House with No Door has never been one of my all-time favorite things. And I mean, Killer's a great song, but you hear it enough times. It takes a little while for H2HE to really get going for me. But by the time you get to the second side, you get lost. And Pawn Pioneers Over Sea. My God, that's some fantastic stuff. Oh, back to an earlier question, talking about live albums. I should have mentioned Vital by Van der Graaf. Vital is a fantastic live album. So I was just mentioning Pioneers Over Sea, and I thought of the live version of Pioneers Over Sea, which is mind-blowing, of course. All heavy and punked out and aggressive and heavy. The heaviness of Vital. Mr. Sheep 222 or 222, whatever you prefer. Stormbringer is fantastic. So is Come Taste the Band. I prefer Come Taste the Band to Stormbringer myself. I like Stormbringer, don't get me wrong. It's got I think the first couple of tracks on side one are real strong, and then side one kind of dives a bit, but it works its way back up. I really like Lady Double Dealer. I think that's one of the highlights of the album. The title track, of course, Soldier of Fortune. I almost think of that as a Ritchie Blackmore solo track almost. But yeah, I think Come Taste the Band overall, I think is a better album, and I would actually argue that Come Taste the Band actually invented the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just a thought, not definitive. Dixie Dregs, awesome band. Got it again. Steve Morse. You got to give it up for Steve Morse. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That's a band that I really need to check out as well. I see them in the shops and I see them on the ads. They're all over the place. Yeah, I'll have to give King Gizzard a chance. I get the idea they're like the Mars Volta for the generation immediately after mine. But I know they're very jammy, which is cool. I like jamming bands. Oh, wait, David Brandy's listening to Blackmore's Night. Yes, I have heard of them with his wife Candace Knight. There's some great Blackmore's Night pieces. Under a Violet Moon is really good. I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of any off the bat, but I really like that style. I like that medieval music, and she's got a fantastic voice. Candace Knight is a fantastic singer. Ian Anderson's done some stuff with him as well, which is cool. C-Pain, These Days Perpendicular, one of your favorite Deep Purple albums. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I've always got time for Perpendicular. I think that's just a killer album. Not quite as heavy as Abandon, but probably more diverse, which is a good thing. You can want to look for that. E&M, yep, Come Taste the Band. That is the one album with Tommy Bolin on guitar. That is absolutely right. 1975, yeah, the year Deep Purple ceased to be for 9 years, and then back in action in 84, and they've been going strong ever since. I'm pretty sure their last tour is still underway. I can't remember. Aupouts. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name there. Loving the reviews too. Great to hear from another Peter Hammill fan. Have I ever come across IQ? Very proggy, but Genesis-esque. Another band that I've heard of, but never went down that rabbit hole. Something about that name, IQ, doesn't. I'm not gonna judge a book. I'm not gonna judge a book by its cover. I'll give it a listen, but I don't know. Calling your band IQ, was that P word pretentious? Maybe I'm wrong. Do I know the Russian band Kino? No, I do not. But I'd be more than happy to check out some Russian music. Why the heck not? There's a great band. They're not Russian. I believe they're from the Ukraine. There might be some members that are Russian. Gogol Bordello, which is basically like they call it gypsy punk. That's a really fun band. Not a band that I could listen to all the time, but in short bursts, they're really cool. I like Gogol Bordello. They're fun. C-Pain, Stormbringer is inconsistent. Yes, absolutely. It's got a big dip in the middle. Starts out strong, and then it kind of goes into the, as Blackmore called it, the shoeshine music, and then, the second side is kind of up and down. But Gypsy is a fantastic riff. I like that's a classic little bit of Blackmore there. Very emotive, that whole line. Melodic riffs. Actually, you know what? Love don't mean a thing. I like that song. That is one case on Stormbringer that I do enjoy. I think it's a nice second side, and it's a groovy little tune. It's funky. Perhaps it's a guilty pleasure that I like it, but gotta get my money. Yeah, give that a shot. Thoughts on Who Do We Think We Are? I think it's a good album. I enjoy that one. You can tell that they're tired at that point. It's not it's definitely not Fireball or In Rock, but I think I probably like it more than Machine Head, to be honest, because Machine Head is very one dimensional. Machine Head is, this is the rock, this is all of the rock, and then Who Do We Think You Are it's similar to Fireball in that it changes the formula a little bit, but not as successfully as Fireball. I think Fireball is certainly a better album, but. Yeah, I like Who Do We Think We Are. It's got A Woman from Tokyo is the big hit, but Rat Bat Blue is a really good track. Super Trooper, I've always enjoyed that one. Smooth Dancer. Ian Gillan's Not So Subtle, Swipe It, Mr. Blackmore. Prog rock pretentious? Surely not. Of course not. That would make me think of a Faulty Towers thing. Pretentious? Some of you may get that. I'm sure. Any Faulty Towers fans out there? Ryan Smith, dude. Okay, so my favorite Peter Hammill solo albums are Nadir's Big Chance, Over, and PH7. Those are some fantastic solo albums. Nadir's Big Chance, I would say of those three, the Nadir is probably my favorite. I would definitely say check out for your next Peter Hammill. I would check out The Future Now and A Black Box. If you really dig PH7, Black Box is like the next level of PH7. I just posted yesterday. I posted the chapters for Peter Hammill Chats Part 5 A and B or whatever. That's Future Now, PH7, Black Box. But yeah, Ryan, I would definitely pick up Future Now and A Black Box. One of either of those two, or Sitting Targets. Sitting Targets is an essential Hammill record. Absolutely. C-Pain, thoughts on Perfect Strangers? Always thought it to be overrated, other than one or two good tracks. I probably agree with you. There's an argument to be made that the Deep Purple reunion didn't really get good until Steve Morse joined. That's probably controversial, but I think Perpendicular is a far better record than Perfect Strangers, though, easily. And definitely better than House of Blue Light or what's the other one? Slaves and Masters. That album's hilarious. I'll be honest. That album just gives me the giggles. There's good tracks on it with Slaves and Masters, but Joe Lynn Turner, man, I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. He's a good singer, but he's in Deep Purple for like a few months is ridiculous. Perfect Strangers is probably better than House of Blue Light, but what's the one song on there? Gypsy's Kiss. I really like that song. That's a great tune. Or From Tokyo is great. Yeah, it's a classic song. Mary Long. That's the other track from Who Do We Think We Are that I was trying to think of. So Mr. Sheep 222. Never listened to Hammill solo. Favorite Vandergraaf is H to HE and Pawn Hearts. Where would you start? If you like those two albums, I would probably start with where would you start? I would check out Chameleon in the Shadow of the Night or The Silent Corner and The Empty Stage. I think those are one of those two albums. In Camera, I'd be tempted to recommend, but it's got some very quirky production to it. It's not what you may be used to, but definitely check out Chameleon in the Shadow of the Night and Silent Corner and The Empty Stage. There's an argument to be made Silent Corner and The Empty Stage is like almost the missing Vandergraaf album, which may be controversial, maybe not. I'm not too sure, but yeah, those what I'd recommend for you. What do I think of Spock's Beard and Porcupine Tree? I think Porcupine Tree is a great band. Haven't listened to them a whole lot latterly in my life, but I remember really digging Fear of a Blank Planet and The Incident. They were very exciting and creepy albums. I think I like Steven Wilson's solo a little bit more. I think Raven Refused to Sing is a brilliant album. Spock's Beard, not familiar enough to comment. Sorry. So CPN, I'll disagree with you a little bit on Battle Rages On. For some reason, I've always enjoyed Battle Rages On. House of Blue Light, yeah, definitely uninspired and dull and 80s and meh. But Battle Rages On is like the record that everything went wrong and by all counts should be and is generally considered to be a failure. But I think there's some great moments on there. I think Battle Rage, I mean, the whole band wasn't even in the studio at any point. And Blackmore basically refused to even see Gillan. I don't think they even saw each other at any point at the point when Gillan joined again in the early 90s. But and then Gillan went and sang over top of a bunch of songs that were already worked out for Joe Lynn Turner to sing over. So again, the odds were stacked against that album, but I think it's great. I think the title track, Battle Rages On, is really good, even though Blackmore totally nicked that riff from a Rainbow song. I forget which one it is. Is it Fire Dance from Bent Out of Shape on the Rainbow album? I think it's Fire Dance. The bridge has diddle 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 diddle. Then of course he put that as the main riff for Battle Rages On. But I like Lick It Up. I think that's a fun song. Anya's a good song. Twisting the Tail is just Dead or Alive again. So yeah, I can see that. Ramshackle Man is fun, even though it's just green onions. The last track is fun. One Man's Meat. And again, that's one of the Joe Lynn Turner songs. And Joe Lynn Turner actually re-recorded that one, and he sang his original melody over the riff. And I like Gillan's better, even though he probably was deliberately trying to bastardize it. But yeah, Battle Rages On is I enjoy that album, and I don't know why. I shouldn't, I suppose. Opinion on Captain Beefheart and his magic band. He is a crazy man. He was a crazy man, Mr. Beefheart. I think everyone should definitely listen to Trout Mask Replica at least once. That's what I'll say about Beefheart. Not as big a Beefheart fan as a Zappa fan, but it's a people should listen to Trout Mask Replica. I have not yet done a review of Please Don't Touch, but I do have that record. I will listen to it. One of these days I may hopefully get to posting it. Got to get through my Hammill stuff first, and then probably Zeppelin or whatever I happen to be listening to at the time that I haven't recorded videos for yet. There will be content, though. What do I think about UFO? Don't know much about them other than Rush opened for them and UFO bullied them, which is funny because Rush went on to become so much bigger. At least over here in Canada. I'm not sure what their status is in other places. In all honesty, I'm not too familiar with UFO, so I can't make a legit comment with regards to them. Like the intro to Knocking at Your Back Door, the rest is forgettable. Yeah, it's. I will say, yeah, the intro is quite good. I like the intro to Knocking at Your Back Door, but yeah, it becomes a bit generic pretty quickly. Ryan Smith says, Future Now didn't quite strike me the first time around. Well, the Future Now in the Hammill catalog is a big change. Not only, if you're following Hammill's solo canon, you go from Over and then the Future Now. It's a pretty drastic change. And then not only that, but with the Van der Graaf canon included, you get Quiet Zone, Pleasure Dome, and then Vital, like the heaviest album they've done at this point. And then Future Now, it's unlike anything. But that's why I always liked it. I've always been a big fan of the Future Now. It's one of my favorites. That late 70s period is one of my favorite eras for Hammill. In Camera is downright scary in parts, absolutely. Especially you get that second side, dude. You have the chorus, the tail is very heavy piece, heavy subject matter, and then you get Gog and Magog to just pound your brain and soul into submission. It's brilliant. You can't go wrong with that. I like the live Van der Graaf versions of GOG. There's some incredibly vicious performances by Van der Graaf. That's good stuff. Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, it's hard to talk about jazz in the same light that I talk about the proggy stuff, because it's more technical, I suppose, to do a good jazz review. But I love Miles. I love Coltrane. I love Thelonious Monk. All that stuff. Big fan of Dave Brubeck, of course, and Joe Morello and those swinging time signature changes, right? As a drummer, you gotta check that stuff out. But crazy how similar to some of the King Crimson stuff. Oh, absolutely. I've never realized his influence on prog. Oh, big time. Miles Davis had a lot to do with it, for sure. And fusion music as well, obviously, with stuff like Bitches Brew. But you can see the Miles Davis thing happening with Crimson in the sort of interim period between the '69 band and the Jamie Muir crazy improv band. That's so cool that they're releasing the soundboard recording of King Crimson live in '72. That is going to be so fantastic. I can't wait to let my ears listen to that one. C-Pain, do I prefer beat or three of a perfect pair? Probably beat. I think I'd probably put beat a little higher. I'm not a big fan of the whole two sides concept with three of a perfect pair. I think it probably would have been better if they mixed it up a little bit, rather than keep the easy songs on one side and the challenging songs on the other side. I mean, for the listener, not necessarily the musician. But yeah, beat. I think beat works overall better as an album. And you got some classic Crimson songs on there too. You got Neil and Jack and Me, Heartbeat. I love Heartbeat. I think it's a really nice song. Sartori and Tangier. Requiem that's an unspoken, easily overlooked Crimson moment of awesomeness, and the Howler too. Kevin even said he's not a big fan of the Howler. Kev from the Wenton Knave, which I thought was interesting. I like the Howler. It's crazy. It's a crazy song, but yeah, Beat's the better one. Yes, C-Fan, what exactly is the cover of Silent Corn on the Empty Stage? I've got absolutely no idea what that cover is supposed to be. I even in my video, I put a plea out to people. I said, "What is it? I don't understand." I mean, does it have to do with a louse is not a home? It's possible, I think, maybe, I don't know. But it is a very confusing cover, absolutely. Cardboard Dog 2010. Brad, we know I'm a drummer. Do I work with a band? Yes, I do. Not currently a full out sort of prog band, but right now I'm two bands are gigging that I'm currently performing with. One is called Civil, and that performs locally around my area. It's covers, really. We do everything from Elvis songs from the 50s all the way up to songs by Pink. So it's basically top 40 stuff through the ages. And yeah, that's all cover stuff. And the other band that I'm in is actually just a duo band. Actually, I should put a couple of links in the description. We just mess around and have lots of fun. Basically, we play shows. We do little bits of improv. Me and this guitar player buddy of mine, and we call the band Bill and Brad. And I gotta put some links down and can show you some of my music. For the longest time, I made my own music, which is I've got another channel here on YouTube. It's the same name, same everything, and it's got some old songs with funny music videos that I put together many years ago. And you can hear my terrible singing voice. I think there's probably some decent songs in there. Some songs are not really so good, but rambling way off topic here again. I've gone off in some other direction. Oh yeah, bands that I play in. So yeah, there's the cover band Civil and Bill and Brad, which is closer to my prog band, if you like. I played in indie bands back in the day, playing sort of generic rock and that kind of stuff. But I'd like to play more jazz, if I'm honest. Mr. Sheep 222. Islands has a better band and Lizard has better songs. I would agree with that, absolutely. So Islands at least does have a band. That's one thing you can give Islands by King Crimson. It is a band that's at that stage ready to go onto the road. Lizard is just chaos, but that's what I like about it. I like the cacophony of it. I like the claustrophobia of Lizard. You can get songs like Lizard, obviously, and or sorry, not Lizard. Circus is the big one. Yeah, Lizard's great. I'm a big fan. I was so happy when the current King Crimson lineup started doing the second half of the Lizard suite. Oh, that was fantastic. And the second time that I saw Crimson, they did the second half of the Lizard suite, and oh man, that was one of the highlights of that concert. Was the Prince Rupert's Lament section, where it's just Fripp and the sustain, and oh, it's so cool. The atmosphere was just electric. If anyone out there that's King Crimson fans, if you've not seen King Crimson, what are you waiting for? You got to check it out. There's always it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Go see Crimson. David says, I've only heard Joe's Garage. What are some other good Zappa albums? Oh goodness, so many. Other good Zappa albums. I'd put Hot Rats on there. Grand Wazoo. Overnight Sensation is a good intro to Zappa. Same with Apostrophe. One Size Fits All is wonderful. If you want something truly all-encompassing, at least up until the 70s area, you'd want to check out Leather. That's a very, very large box set, but Leather is pretty comprehensive. You kind of get most of what you need to know about Zappa in that one, save for the 80s with the Synclavier stuff. But yeah, there's so many good Zappa albums. But those are ones I'd recommend. If you're into the instrumental stuff, if you're into the instrumental stuff, Hot Rats and Grand Wazoo. If you're into the funny stuff, Overnight Sensation, Apostrophe. If you're into the everything, then yeah, Overnight Sensation and the Leather set. That's what I'd recommend. C-Pain says, said this before, and you said this band should happen. So it'll be we're okay. We're gonna form the YouTube band. I'll be on drums, Darren Locke on guitar and bass, and the Wented lads on keys and lead guitar. Let's make this happen, people. Oh, what have I set myself up for? Next thing you know, this is actually gonna happen. I'm scared. C-Pain, what have you done? Ryan Smith beat over 3 of a perfect pair. Yeah, see, absolutely, you got the right idea. And yes, your C-Pain's correct. Neurotica, of course. You one of the Crimson classics. No, Ryan, don't be mean. We can't be rude to Darren. That band would break up soon. Oh, Ragnar, welcome to the vacuum. Here in the vacuum, what you consume consumes you too. See, Ragnar, he's seen my other channel. He's seen my old songs. And Welcome to the Vacuum is one song that I'm actually quite proud of. I was very happy with that one. Even the odd vocals kind of worked, and my insistence on writing lyrics that pointed out to the listener that yes, it's true, the singer cannot sing very well. What's the stranger than the notes I fail to sing, I think is how it goes. But you'll have to check it out and let me know if it's good or not. Lizard Suite is top 5 King Crimson songs, and Lady of the Dancing Water is overlooked. I agree. I think Lady of the Dancing Water is a great little ballad. Much lighter than even I Talk to the Wind, actually, which is kind of surprising because that's a very gentle number. But yeah, the Lizard Suite, at least the second half of it, you can almost divide the Lizard Suite into two distinct. Well, there's a few distinct sections to it, but there's the intro and the bolero bit, and then there's the Lizard Suite that the band is currently performing right now that starts out with the dun 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 dun. I forget what that section's called, but basically the second half of Lizard, and that's the part that I like, because that's got the riffs, the doon 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 doon. I obviously don't know how that part goes. Lizard is one of the best. Meltdown version of is my favorite. I need to get the Meltdown set. This is what I was saying earlier. DGM is stressing me out so much. Just like Kevin Sam there, because they're releasing all this great stuff. I just don't have the money. I just bought a house. I can't be buying all these box sets, but I would like to get my hands on the Meltdown set. So far, I think of all the live concerts that have come out, I like Live in Chicago, because it does have the full Lizard suite. So does Meltdown in Mexico, doesn't it? And that it's also got a version of Fracture, of course, and I've got that on Live in Vienna. I've got Live in Toronto, Live in Chicago, and Live in Vienna, the three current live crims that I have. I've got Live at the Orpheum as well, but probably outdated. And of course, Radical Action. I had to get Radical Action when that came out. I'm really interested to take a listen to the reconstruction of Light, where Pat Mostolato went and re-recorded the drums to Construction of Light. That would be really interesting. I definitely can't afford to get the super box that's got all the projects and all this and all that. I'd like them to just reissue the projects box, because that's one that I don't have. I've got live recordings I've got like collector's club editions of each of the projects, but I don't have the original project box, which would be really, really great to have. I hope they bring that back in stock. It might even be back in stock. I'm not sure. Ryan Smith, I think Discipline is top tier for Crimson. Yeah, you could well be right. For me, it's between Lark's Tongues and Aspic and Discipline. It's so hard to choose. But you could almost argue that those are the two. That's like the yin and yang of Crimson, and I think Kev from Wenton King kind of may have touched on this, but it's almost like by the time you get to Power to Believe, you have like the Lark's Tongues element and the Discipline element, and you marry them perfectly, and it's just such a perfect statement, and that's why we may never see a new studio Crim, which is fine with me. With all the live recordings we get, they sound amazing. There's new material on the live recordings. I'm not complaining. We don't necessarily need a studio album. We're spoiled rotten, us Crimson fans, and the Fripp tax, that we all must pay. Do folks hate on Discipline? Maybe like the old school guys. But no, Discipline's great. It's top level stuff, top tier for sure. I agree. C-Pain's got it. Discipline and Larks. Hello from Venezuela. Hello, Daniel. Love the content. Love the bands you talk about. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy. Mr. Sheep 222, favorite Crimson bass player. I have to go with Tony Levin, because it's Tony Levin, but John Wetton, man. I mean, John Wetton, especially you listen to some of the mid-'70s recordings and some of the improvs, and man, John Wetton is just he's dangerous. He's a dangerous bass player, but you can't beat Tony Levin. He's brilliant. He's fantastic. Trey Gunn's he's got a very an important role to play as well. I wouldn't necessarily call it bass, though. You can't call it bass. Frankie Danks says, listen to Octopus by Gentle Giant for the first time months after, still can't get into it. What are you doing wrong? Well, you're not doing anything wrong. It's sometimes you just don't like it, and that's fine. We can all have our own different taste, obviously, right? If it's not doing it for you, maybe try another band. But yeah, I love Octopus. I think that's probably the crowning achievement of Gentle Giant. But it's very technical music. It's not, wouldn't call it emotional music. It's more just neat to listen to it and kind of deconstruct it in your head. And I mean that's kind of what I do when I listen to Gentle Giant. But it's not I wouldn't not specifically emotive music, although I think it is as well. But yeah. Yeah, Sam doesn't like Discipline. Maybe it'll grow on him. Maybe it will, hopefully. Oh, so Ryan, did you see John Wetton live or Tony Levin live? It'd be great to see Tony Well, John Wetton live with Crimson. Obviously, seeing Wetton live with Asia is a very different thing, but you can see Levin in any context, and it would be fantastic. I've seen Levin with Crimson, and I saw him with the Crimson Project as well. I saw it's actually the AB3, so the Adrian Belew Power Trio and Stickmen were touring together, and we got a Stickmen set, then an AB3 set, and then they came together and they played a bunch of double trio era Crimson stuff, which was lots of fun. Andy Sheldon, he has enjoyed my reviews. Thank you, Andy. I'm glad you enjoy. Wetton was their best singer too. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I like Wetton's voice on the Crimson. I mean, Adrian Belew is probably their best singer, but there's a grittiness to Wetton. There's a the grittiness and the Europeanness of it, we'll say. Sam doesn't like heavy horses. Clearly, the man cannot be trusted. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's hard to trust a man who doesn't like heavy horses. That's a really, 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 really good album. I don't know, man. That's a weird one. Oh yes, Tony Levin you saw live, of course. Oh, don't be sorry. It's all good. Sorry, I've had a few beers. I was contemplating having a beer. I mean, the next time I do one of these live chats, I may have a beer. I'm having a Schweppes soda right now, but I've been on here for an hour and a half, so I think I should probably make my way. I'll answer one more. Oh, two questions. I'll be quick. City of Tiny Lights is Belew's best vocal performance. I would agree to that. I love the version of City of Tiny Lights on. There's so many good versions, but I like the Chic Your Booty version the best because it's Belew's vocal performance, which is fantastic. But I also like the big section. It's not in the other versions between the solo, just that riff, that dun, dun, just those slow chords that come in before the solo, and it also has that the original City of Tiny Lights. Zappa does the solo, but then there's the written bit that that part is fantastic. So the original City of Tiny Lights it'll always be my favorite from Chic Your Booty. Sam did love Minstrel. That's true. He's a fan. Hey, C-Pain's going. Thank you for being here. I gotta go too. Daniel has seen John Wetton live with Asia. He's dangerous man. What's my favorite album by Peter Hammill? Oh, that's a tricky one. Possibly a Black Box. But I like Everyone You Hold an awful lot. That's a really good album. Patience is really, really, really good. His new albums are all fantastic. Thin Air is terrifying. It's again hard to review, but yeah. Maybe by the time I get to the end of my Peter Hammill chats, I'll have a better idea what my favorite one is. But until then, I am going away. So thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, well, I will definitely do this again. You'll see me in the future. Farewell. Oh, do I want to end my stream? Yes, I do. Bye-bye.